It's Quick Snaps.
You want to crown them? Then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were.
With Kostaki Economopoulos.
I got some jokes, you know how we do.
And Aaron Hodges.
Do you know I tried out as a place kicker for the Hartford Colonials?
I don't even know what that is.
Playoffs?
We're going to see how it feels.
Can't wait.
Welcome to Quick Snaps, comedy football talk. We've got tons of NFL stories. Free agency has a ton of new players joining new teams, some huge names, moving markets, including Tom Brady, Emmanuel Sanders, and Todd Gurley. We're going to break it all down and build it back up. I'm Aaron Hodges, and joining me as always is Kostaki Economopoulos. Kostaki, you must be thrilled about Todd Gurley joining your Falcons.
Yeah, I am thrilled. He's coming home. Yeah, the Rams cut him, and I thought, wow, I've always done it the old-fashioned way. I just wait for the Gurley to leave. But but that's one way to do it. I don't know how his knees are going to be, but they got him for cheap, and it's a one-year deal, so it's like...
Why not?
Yeah, I think it's a great signing. It's going to help sell tickets, and I think he's fun to watch, and I like him personally, and I've been rooting for him anyway, and why not add him to my team? I think it's awesome.
Yeah, it's a one-year deal?
It's a one-year deal, and I don't have the number in front of me, but it's a single digit in the millions. It's either 6 or 8 or something. I think it's a good deal. I mean, it's pending a physical, which they can't do right now. My guess is that he'll never be 100% of Todd Gurley, but 80 or 90% of Todd Gurley is still a pretty good player.
Better than Devontae Freeman.
I think that's right. Isn't that right?
Definitely. Guy's hurt too much. What happened to him? Where'd he go? Is he going to land somewhere else?
Yes, for sure. But he was recently cut, so I don't think he's landed somewhere yet. Yeah, I mean, I've been complaining to Andreas about this for a few years. Like, that's not where I want to spend our money. I am very much of the modern NFL model of, you know, like the Niners did this year. They got 4 or 5 good running backs. None of them are stellar, but they're fine. And they spent their money somewhere else, and they had a great team. I prefer that model. And once in a while, you can find an Alvin Kamara in the 6th round or whatever, and that's always a bonus.
Yeah, man. So how you holding up otherwise?
Yeah, I'm all right. I mean, we're worried, sort of low-level worry about 2 things primarily: the physical world, and you know whether the hospitals are going to get overwhelmed, and being safe as a family and a culture, and then financially. I mean, it's a disaster. Both of us. You know, our jobs ended this month for the foreseeable future.
Kind of depends on leaving the house.
Yeah, right. You too,
yeah.
I guess. At least you've got some
no
mailbox money, but yeah, I mean, it's a tough situation.
My day-to-day hasn't changed that much. I just leave the house a little bit less. I've had a couple recordings cancel so far, and there's probably going to be a few more. But right now, as far as my day-to-day, it's not that much different yet, especially compared to you and a whole lot of other people. So I'm going to be okay.
Well, I'm happy to hear that. How's your regular life? Is it you're hanging with the wife and she's not going into New York anymore? What's going on?
Yeah. We're hunkered down here in Jersey and kind of getting on each other's nerves a little bit. But,
that's to be expected.
Yeah. Couple breaking points already, but yeah, I don't know, man. She just kind of grabbed me a little while ago and was like, listen, if we need some alone time, that's fine, but I can't be like annoyed at each other the way that we have been. I don't know, man. I feel like everybody just, with me especially, if I'm around anybody for too long, I just start getting annoyed. Is that you too, or no?
I mean, I suppose we all have some version of that in our lives. For us, so far, I mean, the bigger challenge has been balancing the things because we no longer have help at home with the kiddo, and so we're running around with a child, and then we have these occasional outbursts of have-to-dos, you know. We had the little one had a urinary tract infection, so we had to go to the doctor's office for that. And
Jesus.
Krista had a doctor's office visit as well, and then we had the big panic, go to the supermarket, buy all the things, $500 worth of things, and get set up for the week. And so we've had these sort of tumultuous events and all of the childcare. So we're trying to balance, you take the kid for this stretch of time and I'll work and vice versa. That's been our recent struggle, but we're getting there. In the last day or two, we've broken it up pretty nicely.
Nice.
And in terms of total amount of time with the family, I like it. It's been good to, like, I feel gluier with the little one than I ever have. Like, we spend a lot of time together, and I've always spent a lot of time with everyone when I'm in the city, but I'm running off to other cities, and now that's over for a while. So we're just here, and we've really locked it down. I mean, we're not doing anything.
You can't mess around, especially with the toddler.
Yeah, so we're
right.
Today, we're on the sidewalk, and the weather here is nice. So
yeah,
it's interesting how fast it went from completely insane to totally normal for people to walk big circles around each other.
I know, man. I know. Like, I dropped off some video games at my buddy's house the other day. Alex and I had done a quick trip to ShopRite and to the pet store. We're cleaning out the basement, so I found these video games for a system I no longer have. So I was like, let me drop these off. And, like, we just kind of, like, walked in. There's no embrace. There's nothing. We just kind of walked in, dropped them off, said, we're not staying. We're leaving. And it was, like, it's so weird.
Right.
Just to have just dap your friend up, have a little handshake, a little high five, Right. So, like, I don't even want to throw elbows anymore.
I know. It's crazy. And now there's, we're in a neighborhood with a ton of families and lots of people are home and lots of dogs, so you see folks walking up and down the sidewalk and they just kind of, if you had done this a month ago, you would look like a lunatic. But now you just kind of, there's somebody coming down the same sidewalk. You just kind of cheat into the grass and do this big arc. Or you literally like walk around the other side of a car that's parked on the side of the street, and people are like super friendly and everybody gets it. It's weird. It's amazing how there's a new normal that's been fully embraced in such a short amount of time.
Yeah, all the racists that would cross the street when they saw a black guy are just like, nah, it's just a pandemic now.
Yeah, now you got to cover it. Yeah. It's good, yeah.
You got plausible deniability. The one thing that's happened so far that really has bummed me out happened today. It's my nephew's birthday party today, and I couldn't go. So
right,
we I wrote a roast for him, and they Skyped us, and we Skyped when they sung Happy Birthday too. But it was like such a bummer that I couldn't go.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's going to be a whole arc of those kind of moments now. My cousin, my Greek cousin who lives in London, just turned 40 yesterday, and she managed to find a cake and had a bottle of wine and was home by herself.
Yeah,
what a weird thing.
And I can't help but think about all the people that planned weddings and all kinds of family gatherings that can't happen. It's I can't even imagine. If you were planning on getting married right now, and like,
I know you have to cancel it. At least. Yeah. I mean, you'd have to, right? You'd have to get married some other way and have a party in a year. Like the end of the COVID-19 dance celebration party, whenever that happens.
Parties are going to be crazy when this is all over.
Someday, yeah. I hope it happens instantly so that there's like a real moment that we can all celebrate.
Yeah, I don't see that happening, but that'd be cool.
I don't either. It's going to be a slow, like, all right, did you get the vaccination? Yeah, but not my friend. It's going to take a while, right?
I thought about, like, we haven't really had a proper, like, party at the house since we moved, and I thought about, I was like, let's just plan on having a party right now. I was like looking at August, and I'm like, I don't know, late August. Let's just have a party. So like people can have something to look forward to. Be like at the end of this, we could just like have a big party. I don't know. But that even now, it's like, I don't know. How long are we going to be going through this?
Way too soon, right? I mean, who knows? I was in prepping for this. I I was surfing around and reading and watching a couple things because I've kind of been quietly saying to Krista, like, I don't think there's going to be a football season this year.
Really?
People are like, oh, it's too far away. And I watched a little
jeopardy.
bit. I mean, all the other leagues have been pretty much canceled. I like this theory that gave me some hope. What's his name? The guy from Pro Football Talk. Why does his name always elude me?
Florio?
Yeah, Florio had a great theory. He goes, at this point, my guess is the NFL is going to find a way to test all the players right before a game, yank any of them that are positive, and let the rest of them play the game in empty stadiums so they still have the television revenue, which will be huge because it's the only live thing that's happening that's not the news. And that kind of gave me some... I was like, oh, I could see that. You know, there was a couple of stories this week that there's some tests that are coming out now that they can determine if you are positive in about 45 minutes. So if that's a widespread thing by the time August, September rolls around, that seems doable.
Yeah, I mean, they at least have the luxury of some runway, right? They can kind of figure this out as they go.
Right. And, you know, of course, everyone wants it to happen so that there's sort of cultural support for it, at least at this point. But who knows? I mean, this stuff has changed so fast in the last few weeks. It went from, I'm going to be somewhat inconvenienced to, holy shit, our whole lives are changed, you know?
I know.
It's amazing how quick that changed. I mean, I have the same thing. I have lots of dates on the books, but I don't expect any of them to happen.
How far out are you planning to be done?
I'm not planning at this point. I'm just not buying. I'm not buying flights, and we'll see as we go. But I've got a few gigs from now through June. You know, several, but I don't expect them to happen. And I've got a couple things booked in December, and I'd like to think that I'll be able to get to those, but I don't know.
All right.
It's crazy.
When do you think the riots start?
Yeah, I mean, not this is all right. Can I just spill my guts on my scariest vision?
Yes, please.
These flatten the curve talks that we've been discussing don't happen enough. The hospitals are overwhelmed, and once people realize that if they get the virus, that there's some chance that it's a death sentence, then social order breaks down completely, and people don't go to their jobs, and trucks aren't driving things to where they need to be, and the cops are hesitant to go to work. And I mean, that's the worst case scenario in my head. I'd like to think we can all stay home enough that we do flatten the curve and we don't overwhelm the hospitals, and we get through a year and 3 months-ish of very challenging times, and then we have vaccines and our world goes basically back to normal. On the other side of the coin of this, I read some stuff this week. The guy who was part of fighting the end of the polio scourge and has been an expert in this universe since, he's completely convinced that this is something that can be stopped with a vaccine. And he also believes at this point that once you get it, you're immune to it going forward. And so there'll be a big bubble of people who have had it and won't get it again. And then you squeeze the rest of the virus with a vaccine, and you can kind of push it out of your day-to-day existence as a culture someday.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm rooting for that. I like the idea that there'll be some healthcare workers who have it and now are immune and can handle the scariest stuff without putting themselves in danger. I mean, that was hopeful.
But that's a theory at this point, right? We don't even know for sure.
Yeah, that's right. That's a very educated guess. That's right.
Yeah, right. I don't know. I legit think that I might have had it. I don't have a thermometer at home, but I did get very, very sick a few weeks ago. And
Okay.
I really haven't left the house much, just really for groceries, and I've tried to keep my distance from everybody. But like, yeah, I'm also hoping that if I did have it, that I won't get it again.
Right.
And it's super frustrating that there isn't testing available, because I would love to get tested at this point, nobody's going to even give me a test because I'm not, like, breathing heavy or anything.
Right.
And it's just like, how many people are in the same exact situation where, like, they're carrying and they don't even know it. Even if they wanted to get tested, they can't. So it's like, I don't know. I'm very doomsday about it. I think hundreds of thousands of people have this thing.
Yeah, I think you're right. And so it's a matter of it's splitting the density pockets of humans so that it's not spread at a rate that overwhelms the hospitals. That's the game from a cultural point of view, right?
Yeah.
And I listened to that interview with that doctor in Italy that was on the Daily podcast, and that's the one that really scared me. Like this guy was like fighting through tears. They're literally deciding who lives and dies because they don't have enough ventilators for everybody.
In Italy, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and they're not talking about some weird sub-Saharan, third world country. We're talking about fucking Italy. They have more hospital beds per capita than we do here in the United States. And they couldn't let visitors into the hospital. For one, the obvious reason that they could bring something to people in the hospital. And two, they don't have enough protective gear for the doctors and nurses and healthcare providers already, so they can't give them to visitors. And so some of the people who came there and died in that hospital died alone.
It's a massive failure on so many levels, and I'm very angry about a lot of things, especially like I feel like it's exposed a lot of weaknesses that we already knew that we have, but we've decided to not deal with it. And now it's come to like a head where it's like, well, obviously this is a huge problem. We can't even withstand like 3 weeks without working and without this whole thing collapsing.
Right. Yeah, and that's the scary part. I mean, yeah, that's it. And it's weird to me that there's a little subculture of people who are angry about the media creating hype out of nothing and running around on spring break. It's like someone needs to sit you down with a graph and have a 5-minute talk that you're focused on listening to, because there is a gigantic potential disaster that's right around the corner unless we all dramatically change our lives. And arguably it's too late to avoid it. So, yeah, we'll see what happens, man. Good luck, everybody.
Good luck out there.
What?
Oh, I gotta go on a little bit of a kind of not important rant, but this thing happened the other day and it's related to the show. So we have the Patreon set up, right? And we did the drawing for the winner for the custom jersey. It's this dude named Dave. Thank you to all the patrons. He won. I went and I ordered the custom-made jersey from NFLshop.com. Now, that was in February. I don't know the exact date, but it was in February. And it didn't get there. At some point, I checked the tracking number, and it says it's going to be I tell Dave it says it's going to be there tomorrow. Like a week goes by, and he hits me up, says, it hasn't gotten here yet. Da 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 da. I said, all right, sorry, man. Let me check on it. And I checked on it. Still says it's gonna. Now it says it's gonna be there, tomorrow again. It still says the same thing. I'm like, all right. That's what I tell him. So all right, finally, a couple weeks go by. Now we're in the midst of all this nonsense that's going on. So it's like, who really cares? But he's like, yeah, I'm not trying to like pester you, but like you might want to at least get your money back because like it hasn't come. So, all right. So check the tracking number one more time. Now it says it's gone back to NFLshop.com because somewhere along the way the address got messed up. I don't know if it was me or if someone on the other side punched in the wrong numbers or what. I don't know. So I call. They say you have to call NFLshop.com, the NFL shop, to figure out what to do because it's getting shipped back to them. So I call them up and I explain to them what I just explained to you, much shorter, concise manner.
Oh, thank God.
I said, the address got messed up. It's getting shipped back to you. What do we do? And they say, oh, well, you're going to get an email soon as it, it registers that it's back to our shop and you'll get a refund. And I said, well, can't we just ship it to the right place and now that we have the address right?
Seems like a fair question.
And she said, no, you have to place another order after you get the refund. So I'm like, wait, so there's a custom-made jersey sitting there, and unless you guys pinpoint exactly where this jersey is and send it out again after I put in a new order, this custom-made jersey is going to sit somewhere in a warehouse or wherever the fuck it's going to be.
Get thrown away.
And for what? Like, come on, NFLshop.com. You got to be better. You got to be better than that. You got to be able to accept something back and then ship it to the correct address when something like that happens. That's crazy.
That is crazy. This is not helping our odds of getting them as a sponsor. NFL Shop, you have failed.
You have failed us.
Well, thanks for handling that. Sorry, what a pain in the ass.
I don't know. I don't know if I'd say handle it. But.
By any chance, does the name on the back, is it Economopoulos? is that what he went with? I'm just guessing.
No, sadly, he didn't want to pay homage to his favorite podcaster.
Can we segue to football comedy somehow? Is it possible? We could do it, right? We got some big news to cover. Tom Brady's in Tampa. What do you think of that?
I think it's a weird landing spot.
It is, right?
Yeah.
It's not one of the kind of... It doesn't have gravitas as a franchise that you think like one of these big names would land in, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
They do have some good receivers. They have some good weapons on the offensive side for sure.
They absolutely do. I'm interested to see from a fantasy point of view if Mike Evans. It's probably a net loss for Mike Evans, right? Because they're not slinging the ball down the field all the time the way they did in the old days.
That's actually true. Yeah, I think like fantasy wise, it might be worse for them.
Yeah, actually, it might be worse in real football too. I mean, Jameis Winston turned the ball over way too much, but he also, I think he had the most passing yards of any quarterback in the league this year.
I think that's right, yeah.
And that doesn't even count the yards that went to the wrong team. That's the original team.
Even if they did deduct it, he might still have more. I don't know. Excuse me.
It's Tom Brady in Tampa. I mean, just the uniforms are kind of ugly and not classic. It just feels weird. Because of his advanced age, there's going to be a no visitors policy for Tom Brady in Tampa.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's good news for Tom Brady. There's no state income tax. Bad news, he has to buy an El Camino. So, you win some, you lose some. The great thing about becoming a pirate, on-field cheating is the least that you're associated with.
Yeah.
Number one selling jersey, Tom Brady. In a Buccaneers uniform. It's too weird.
It's weird, yeah. I can't really picture it. It's very, very strange.
Now, the only fair way to see if it's Brady or Belichick is for the Patriots to sign Jameis Winston this year. Wouldn't that be great? Has that ever happened in the history of the NFL where they basically just swap quarterbacks?
Without trading?
Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't... Or trading. Either way. I've never heard of anything even remotely like that.
I don't know. Yeah, I can't think of anything.
I mean, he's so not the Belichick type, but what a great experiment that would be. By the way, I'm betting on Belichick long run in this competition.
Well, yeah, Brady's only got a couple
it's hard to
years
measure
left
because he's not in his prime, so it's not really fair. But I think there's a good chance that Brady falls on his face this year, and I think there's zero chance that Belichick does.
I'd love to see it.
I would love to see. I hope they both fail. I hope they both go 2-14.
Ideally, that's what happens. Yeah,
that would be fantastic.
Absolutely.
Bucks coach Arians said he always he said this a few times, which I thought was strange for a coach to speak so openly about this. He said before committing to Jameis, he wanted to see what was behind door number 2, and it turns out door number 2 is Tom Brady. That's a pretty good door number 2.
Yeah, not bad.
which makes me wonder what's behind door number 3, an actual goat, like the old days. They're like, is it a car? No, it's a goat. Yeah, right. And I don't have a joke on this, but I just love this. According to Vegas, the Bucks are 16-1 to win the Super Bowl, and the Patriots are 20-1.
Interesting.
Vegas thinks the Bucks have a better shot of winning the Super Bowl than the Patriots. Of course, the Patriots don't have a quarterback yet. If they sign Cam Newton or somebody buzzworthy, I suppose that could change fast.
Yeah, I heard Cam too. That'd be interesting. They tried Tim Tebow a little bit. Cam's a better version of Tim Tebow.
Oh, much better.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And I saw today, Robert Kraft bought a full-page ad thanking Tom Brady in the Tampa Tribune. That's a big spend for a guy worth $6 billion. How much is a newspaper ad in 2020 during a global pandemic? I'm guessing it's less than the cost of a Florida hand job.
I don't know. A lot of people reading the paper in Boston, kid. A lot of people.
No,
They've got a lot of time on their hands now, kid. There's no Dunkin'
This is a
Donuts.
Tampa newspaper.
Oh. Never mind.
But I enjoy your Boston accent.
They're
Please
not
feel
reading
free.
down there.
What are you drinking? I can see you on the thing. What do you got there?
Cape May Brewing Company. Cape May White. It's really good. It's a Belgian-style wheat ale brewed with coriander and orange peel.
Oh, shit. That sounds great. That's right up my alley. It's very Blue Moon of you.
It is very Blue Moon, but like more on the Belgian side
Right.
than the orange side.
I like that.
It's good.
Phillip Rivers, probably the second biggest story. I don't know. There's maybe 15 big stories right now.
Where did he go? Oh, the Colts. I hate this move.
You hate this move? Tell me why.
I hate this move. Well, first of all, he's not better than Jacoby Brissett at this point. What are the Colts doing?
He's not?
No. We got to do the quarterback rankings. We've been tiptoeing around it. We got to get to it. Next episode is going to be Next episode has got to be the quarterback rankings.
Okay, let's do it. I'm in.
All right.
I think he's better than Brissett, and obviously the Colts do. I mean, they're paying him $25 million for 1 year.
That's how much they were paying Jacoby, basically.
Yeah, he had a pretty good contract, right? $25 million. That's almost $1 million per child. That's. I'm worried that him moving the family from California to Indiana is going to throw off the census. I mean, this is.
Yeah, I mean that family alone is not going to flatten the curve. Like, sorry, we can't gather in groups of 10 or more.
Here's the worst. This is actually true. The Hoosier Lottery has lots of games. This is the Indiana State Lottery. They have a daily 3, a daily 4, a cash 5, and a save the 7s. Phillip Rivers is in town. You got to get a pick 6. What are you doing? How is there not a pick 6 in this lottery?
He's got more pick 6s than Matt Schaub.
That's a pretty high bar, I imagine.
I just don't think it's that much of an improvement. Even if you do think that Phillip Rivers is better than Jacoby Brissett, I don't think it's that much more to kind of like upset the team balance, because I felt like Jacoby had a pretty decent year.
I think you're right. I think there's a smaller gap than maybe the buzz. Yeah, I think he's proven to be a useful sort of bottom of the range NFL quarterback. And Phillip Rivers is not top 10 anymore. So how big a gap is there? Right. It's a good question. He said he considered retirement, Rivers, and then he remembered he's got 9 kids. Like, who wants to go home to that circus?
Yeah, no way.
And actually, in this case, going home to his family might be a violation of the ban on groups of 10 or more.
There you go.
He's not technically allowed. So Gurley goes to the Falcons. Clinton Dix signed with the Cowboys. Jason Witten is going to Vegas like an old lounge singer.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
He's got a residency?
Yeah. Teddy Bridgewater to the Panthers. Mariota is a Raider, too.
I like Teddy as a Panther.
DeAndre Hopkins traded for David Johnson.
Yeah, what is up with that, man?
There were several people who said that would have been vetoed in a fantasy league. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
The buzz is that Hop had issues with the coach. Like, they had some talks that, like, Hopkins lost respect for him and sort of clocked out, so they had to move him. I don't know if that's true, but that was the story.
Yeah, I heard the thing about Bill O'Brien and calling him in a meeting, saying the last time I had to have a meeting like this was with Aaron Hernandez.
Yes, that was the story.
And that he doesn't.
What a crazy way to open a meeting, if that's true. Jesus.
Right, like, yeah, that's a... Yeah, where do we go from here?
He's trying to reach a guy who he thinks needs to have a real talking to, but I see why Hopkins would be like, what the fuck?
It'd be problematic.
Tannehill got his extension. Kirk Cousins got another extension. Nobody has done more with less since Yoko Ono. This guy keeps signing these huge contracts.
These mediocre quarterbacks just keep winning.
I'm interested to see where you rank him in that ranking.
Kirk or Tannehill?
Both of them, but Kurt's more challenging, I think.
He seems like I don't know. I think he might be better than I give him credit for, but he just seems like he's got like a boner curve. Like he seems like a real freaking dweeb, like that you can't get behind. So that hurts him in my mind. Like he's just a real big boner.
You lost me. I guess because we were talking about graphs. I was trying to imagine a boner curve. It's like, is that a 60-degree angle? I was trying to figure out what you were saying.
That's a ridiculous way to put it. Yeah.
Well, I wasn't trying to get there. You took me there. Dak got franchise tagged. Derrick Henry got franchise tagged. The Falcons got Hayden Hurst, the second tight end for the Ravens.
Yeah, your Falcons are making moves.
Yeah, and they let their super expensive tight end walk, which I think was the right choice, actually.
Who, Hooper?
Yeah, Hooper's gone. He's
I heard
he's a
he
Brown.
got more. He's getting more money than Kelsey and
That's right.
Kittle.
He's the highest paid tight end right now, which is absurd, but that's the nature of how these things work, right? Kind of quietly, the CBA got passed. So assuming that we can play football again someday, we're going to have 11 years of labor peace.
Oh, I didn't even know that. 11 years.
Yeah. It goes from 12 to 14 playoff teams this season. So we're going to have 2 extra teams and two fewer buys, right? We're going to have 2 teams that have buys total instead of 4, right?
So just the top seed in each conference?
Right. So I believe the Packers would have not had a bye. So that changes. And then in the following year, we go from 16 to 17 regular season games.
Really?
Among the other highlights, yep.
The players agreed to that?
Yeah, it was all approved. The players voted by like some very small margin to approve. And for some reason, maybe it was that the world turned upside down. This didn't get it wasn't a big story.
It would have been a much bigger deal, yeah.
What else we got? Oh, the new face in the NFL of the coronavirus is Sean Payton, the first NFL figure to test positive. He's opting not to play defense against the virus. He's just going to have Drew Brees outscore it. So that perfect sense. He knows he's outclassed by the virus, so look for a surprise onside kick after halftime. That's for the Colts fans out there. And just today, last bit of NFL news from my end. The NFL is planning to have the draft in a TV studio environment with Roger Goodell. Good news, it'll be the first year he doesn't get booed, so that's nice.
Still might get booed.
He's still, there'll be Jets fans somewhere just outside the studio screaming. Well, one of my listener guys, Paul Hoffman, said it. Maybe the Falcons can pipe in some booze. That's funny.
There you go. Yeah. I was texting, your brother texted me very briefly. We were texting back and forth the other day. He congratulated me on not booking my flights to Vegas.
Yeah. We're supposed to be there. I actually canceled. I have to say, can we do United Airlines and American Airlines this week both came through with flying colors. United let me cancel a flight that had already taken off today.
Oh,
and
wow.
refunded me in full. How about that?
Well, that's good.
And American gave me credit back, and then they canceled the flight. So I actually have a credit instead of the money because of my timing. If I'd done nothing, I would have just gotten the money. But
You're gonna fly again eventually.
someday. And Andreas, who booked non-refundable hotel rooms in Vegas for us, had them fully refunded.
Oh, he did. Good.
Yeah, so people have been pretty cool about this craziness.
You gotta
so far.
be, man. If you're not, I mean, you're not gonna have a business on the other side of this.
Right.
You might not
Right.
have a business on the other side of this anyway. I was just
Yeah,
saying.
I know.
Like,
What a crazy... I mean, some of these comedy clubs that I've loved over the years, there's no way they're going to survive being closed
No.
for several months.
I can't imagine. Like, I feel so bad, especially for people that just started businesses. That I mean, and people that are barely hanging on. Like, they're going to fail. There's no way
Yeah.
around it. And it
Across
sucks.
the way from us is a baker. She's laid everybody off. There's one of the other ones is a jewelry maker. She fired 16 people this week. She can't.
Jesus.
She went all the way to Saudi Arabia for a jewelry show, and they canceled it after she got there.
Ugh.
Right? Krista can't I mean, you can't run around and take pictures of people. No one wants to be near you. I can't collect people into a room to tell them jokes, so, and little businesses all over the world are going to, how do you survive a restaurant that can't open its doors? And we just told the world that it's poisonous to be outside. That ain't going away soon. We're going to have that thought and fear for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, the economic, I mean, even if we can flatten the curve and avoid some of the hospital chaos, this is going to be a slow 9/11 financially. It's going to be a disaster for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching something the other day where they're like, "This is obvious. This is way worse than even 9/11 for businesses in New York because the fear only lasted a few days. Well, the fear lasted long enough to keep people from going outside for a couple days after 9/11. But this is totally different.
It's totally different too because it's sort of emotionally like you weren't afraid of your fellow man. Like there was a. I didn't live there at the time, but I've been told this by several New Yorkers. There was a weird sort of fraternity, sort of humanity that was in the city almost immediately.
Right. Yeah.
People were helping each other and became more friendly and more open, like immediately.
There was a unifying feeling.
Right. And this is weirdly the opposite, where you kind of are afraid to be near the other humans.
Don't you just look at some people right now and you're like, oh, you definitely got the Rona. Some people just look like they haven't seen sleep in 3 days, and you're just like...
I haven't thought that yet.
You haven't? All right.
No.
You will next time you go out.
I'm in sunny California. I keep thinking of that Bill Hicks bit where he talks about watching the news. It's like death, famine, terror, murder, and then he looks out the window and it's just crickets. The news is nothing but bad news. And then you go outside, you're like, oh, it's a fucking beautiful day. It doesn't match up in my head.
I know, it's crazy right now. This is easily the craziest period of time for a lot of people's lifetimes right now.
For sure. I mean, this is a history book year for sure. Kids are going to remember not going to school this year, and I mean, so much of it. Like you said, every wedding, every big plan. My buddies were supposed to go to do this Europe trip. They're not going. Everything's all fucked up and upside down for the foreseeable future, for sure.
Yeah. We took in 2 cats.
You got extra cats?
We have 5 cats in the house right now.
Oh my god, where do they come from?
It's one of Alex's roommates in Brooklyn. She's Australian. She got a new job, and she had to renew her visa. So she had to go back to Australia to renew the visa. When she got there, they said because she came from the U.S., she had to quarantine for 14 days.
What the fuck?
So we brought the cats here, and we're trying to keep them separated. But we've introduced them to each other and kind of cohabitated a little bit. But one of our cats is very anxious, and she won't eat And when she does, she throws up. So now it's like we're trying to figure out the new balance here. But fortunately, the house is laid out where we can kind of keep them separated and people can roam, or the cats can roam free. But not the biggest problem in the world. But that's what's going on over here. We got 5 cats.
You don't get to name them. They already have names. It's not like they're strays. These are cats from the world.
I guess we could.
You in your head, you can give them other favorite Giant player names, right? Or if they're the enemies of the home cats, you give them like Dallas Cowboy player names.
That's true. That's true. I'm gonna start calling them Zeke and Dak.
No, it's got to be from the era that the other cats are from, right?
That's true. All right, we'll go Aikman and Smith. We'll go Troy and Emmett.
Yeah, or Michael Irvin. This is a fun name for a cat.
Yeah. Michael Irvin, and Zeke.
Fucking Jason Witten's been playing on that team for 40 years.
It's true. He's a goddamn dinosaur.
All right, man. Well, it's good to talk to you.
You too, man. Keep your head up.
Yeah.
Stay safe. Stay healthy.
Right. You too, brother. And thanks for listening, everybody. We're going to, we're all trying to figure this out, the right balance between talking about the hard stuff and being entertaining, and we might miss stuff, but we're certainly trying to do our best, and we'll probably do a little heavier on the entertainment front on the next one, and we'll keep talking to you guys if you keep listening.
Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, be safe, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.